All right, folks, we're going to call the meeting to order. I'll remind everybody as they come up, if they're making a presentation or if they're going to speak at all, please speak directly into the microphone, state your name and your affiliation to the applicant, the relationship to the applicant, I should say, and if you're not the applicant. What we're going to do is we're going to start with continuations. Frankly, I don't know if any of them are showing up tonight. I don't believe they are, because they haven't submitted any new materials, but I will do that. From continuations, we'll go to revisions, then we'll go to new matters, and then ultimately to informal. Okay. First continuation, ARB 16-12, 30 South Broadway, Donardo Court. Okay. 16-60, 116, 118 Main Street, Fisher. Okay, 16-65, 1 North Broadway, Windows. All right, 16-76, still under continuation. 1676, 10 Cedar Lawn Road, Meyer.
Here.
Okay.
Come on
We
up.
don't have any new information from you, but we'll hear what you have to say. And if there's something that we can listen to, that we don't have to go back to the board, the building inspector.
Sure.
We'll do so.
Sure. Just all of you. So,
In the microphone?
this one here?
Either one, or
Okay.
both on. Just tell us who you are.
Yeah, I'm Patrick Knowlton, and I'm a friend of the families. I have a construction background, so I'm here representing them to help them get through the process of having their house brought up to the standards, up to code. And what they're replacing is a front deck, which is actually the front entrance to their home, and a retaining wall. And they're both been around probably for 25 years or more, so not up to code. The wall is made out of wood, so it's deteriorating, so they're going to do it into stone block. And the deck will be built out of composite, so it won't be wood. And the railings that are going around the house, pretty much similar to what's there already, will be done out of aluminum. And right now it's wrought iron that used for rails that are under code. So that's pretty much it. It's pretty basic.
Do you have anything to show us tonight? Or?
Sure. I think some of the stuff is in there, in the file. One of the brochures for the railing is in the file. I think actually all the stuff that you put in there. The building inspector had it all. Took it off from me, so.
Here's what you submitted.
Right.
And here's a copy of the drawing. Right. If you could go through that and explain what we're doing here.
Okay. Glad to do that.
Okay, so the retaining wall, which is made out of timbers here,
Take a look. All deteriorating underneath, the deck is on top, and actually the wall is used to actually,
hold the deck up, and the wall itself is definitely unsafe, so this first reason why it's coming down. It's going to be replaced with block, concrete block filled with cement and re-rod. That'll be done, it's a 42-foot wall with different heights, starts at 6 foot and comes down to about 2.5 feet. The rail system is going to go up. It is going to be done out of
black square aluminum, so it's pretty much the same as what's on the house right now. Sort of walk away if you can take a look at the style. This will change some because it's looking at a block. It'll be painted, stucco and painted to be the same color as the house as it is today.
So
Yeah, it's not
cars
visible.
underneath the deck.
Yeah, it's not even visible from the road, right? It's not visible from the road. Behind. Here, what is visible from the road would be this piece right here. All the rest is underneath. But this will, again, will be block, concrete. The rail system will be very similar. Sorry, the rail system will be very similar. It's, this is the wrought iron, but it's going to be made out of this here, which is much more attractive and better grade of material. So this will be the new rail system. It'll go around the front. This is the old, this is the new.
Is the same topping on it?
No, the topping changed, there's no, actually, no, this is just wrought iron, so there's no topping up. This matches the Florida flooring.
Okay, so it is topped,
It is topped.
the new one.
Yes, new one, yes, sorry, yes, it's topped.
And what's the decking?
It's composite, so it's the tracks, yes, thank you. The new improved tracks, they say, correct?
You have something that shows what it looks like?
Yes, the flooring right here is going to go down. It'll be this color here. This is pretty similar to what's already on the front of the house already.
What's it called?
So the steps and everything are gonna be
Steps,
exactly the same?
new tracks, yes.
Well, it's the same geometries that's currently there.
Exactly the same. Plans are exactly the same for everything, the wall and the deck. The only thing that's really going to change is the rail, the deck of the rail, the metal.
And the material on the wall.
The material on the wall. Right.
And this is what you're proposing as far as the wall?
Right,
Change?
Yes. Well, the wall doesn't change. The
No,
walls
I mean
follow
the
the
wall.
same contour. But, no, it's the wall. And, you see, not quite as exposed in the front, it's about 3 foot that you'll see on the roadside.
Ever see that?
I'm gonna need all that back, by the way.
Yes, sure.
Okay, anybody have any other questions?
What's the block? You described it, is it stone or is it?
No, it's concrete block. It's,
And you said it'll be stucco?
it'll be stucco and painted.
No, stucco.
Yes. It's, not being the builder here, I may get to go over the plans of the block is. It is a,
You could see it from the road.
You're gonna parge it to like the foundation of the house.
yes, yes. Is that the front?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, here.
Okay. Yeah, it'll all be, it'll pretty much be the same, but upgraded and to code, basically. And we have very reliable contractors, and local families, so they're good people, do good work.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very much. All approved. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks.
Good night.
Yep.
Sure.
That's
Okay, moving on to the next, 16-84, 44 South Ferris Street, Bernard, fence. Okay, we'll go to revisions. First revision, 16-42, 20 Strawberry Lane, exterior elevation changes.
John Malone, Ferguson Malone Architecture. Who is this? Raby Residence, Kim and James Raby. This is a reduction due to, is this what I should be talking into?
Either one, either one.
This is a reduction in scope due to a change in circumstance and budget, significant change in circumstance and budget. Has to do with twins. But basically, the change is that all the work that's associated with the garage and the opening up of the lower level has been taken out, and then the upgrades, the remaining upgrades of the house are staying. So what we're pulling out is all of this work in the front that's associated with bringing in the new driveway. So what that means essentially is This is the proposed exterior elevation on the south-facing side, which they had 2 garage doors shown. The upgrades now are limited to upgrading the windows. What we've done, based on the discussion that we had last time, is that all of the windows, all the openings that are carriage house doors, or some of that, the mullions have been taken out. So this door that is being replaced on the lower level here is in that same language of a more abstract door. Otherwise, this house is the same.
That door was pulled out in the schedule.
And then on the front, if you'll see, it's in the front of the house. These windows have been upgraded slightly. I think these were always shown as marble, but these are now fixed windows, and the windows have been taken out. They've been simplified. They've been treating more like windows than doors. Same with this opening that was a hay door has been simplified.
But all that, John, it was all approved before, right?
This is all
Everything's all the same.
This was approved, but you guys asked for us to pull mullions out.
Right.
So
Everything above grade is the same as everything.
every part is the same. In terms of the site, and I think there's one change. Yeah. We pull mullions out. That's good. This is the same. There's a slight change here where we pulled up the sill of the windows. I think it's a better proportion. I don't think there's a change there. The quality of the windows is a little bit better. We have been extending the Andersons that they've been using, and we're upgrading those to marble throughout. So and then in terms of the changes to the site, which is shown here, there's still planting shown in this area and an upgrade of the wall. It's basically everything associated with the driveway that's been pulled out of the job.
So the wall has not changed at all.
Yeah, there's still, this wall is the wall that's coming down, that's tipping over, so this is going to be rebuilt in place, and then there's a removal of an existing brick patio.
Previously approved, all right.
Yeah, previously approved. That's it.
Any questions? Nope. Ready? Okay, we have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Malone, we're gonna go 16-56, 7 Strawberry Lane, down the street. Gruber, exterior elevation change.
So this is an exterior elevation change to Gruber, a few modifications to the window assemblies. On the rear elevation, there's been a slight change where we've added an operable awning operation window. Well, it's actually outward. It goes out, but it's on the bottom. And taken out. So these windows are similar to what was shown there, except they've been modified slightly. And there's been an addition of some windows here on the east facing side of the house. There's a living room in that location that is large. So these windows match the same. This is the adjacent portion of the room. So there's these windows on this side and similar window out on that side.
The cloud on the roof?
Oh,
The word skylights.
the skylights have been pulled out of the job. The front door is being upgraded to a glazed front door with side lights rather than 2 solid panels.
Questions? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Up to new matters. ARB 16-86, 26 Maple Street.
Good evening. My name is Jonathan Villani. I represent Nunziata Villani Design Consultants. My client is at 26 Maple Street in Irvington, the Friend Residence. They've recently purchased a home and are proposing some interior alterations, but some minor exterior alterations. A change to a front entry portico and a window at the rear of the building. All materials colors will match the existing. The front entry porticos is going to be changed slightly. Instead of these steel or iron columns that are there presently and simple pediment, exchange it for columns and a little more accentuated front entry with a arch and a gable. Size is similar. Materials will be the same color as the existing house. I have photos in color of the house. And then they have a window that they're replacing in the back at the rear of the structure. So these are the colors. So the front entry is pretty simple. You want to just accentuate it a little bit, create something more attractive from the street. That's the existing front entry.
Could you have your drawing with you?
Yes.
I'm just saying, could you pull up on the easel there to show us A007? Yeah. Obviously, I have it at a larger scale, but I'm wondering. I was able to look at the inside as well as how those windows that are moving are showing up, and I'm a little surprised actually that those three windows are not centered underneath the gable. Well, underneath or in sync with the other windows.
The only reason is because then it wouldn't be centered in the room, it would be all centered in the actual.
And I thought about that, and I looked at it, and it didn't seem from the interior drawing that I.
Yeah, due to that closet, you see it on that floor, you see the closets that are in the left hand?
I see it.
Yeah, so what's happening is it's centered in that new den that's gonna be there. So that window is centered on the interior, but it's gonna get all centered on the exterior. I would normally, if it was on the front, I would never make that move if it was on the front of the house. But since it's the rear, I think it, to my client, it do, more justice having it centered on the inside than the outside.
Anybody else have any questions? Any issue?
Pretty straightforward, but I understand your question.
All right, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you like a copy of the drawings back?
Oh, that'd be great, yeah, thanks. Use that. No, you have more than hers.
Okay, moving along. 16-87, 5 Ardsley Terrace, also exterior elevation changes. You can try to pronounce that name, but I'm sure I botched it. Cat, no. Your client's, Cayman, all right.
James Kraft for Studio Park, representing Matt.
In the mic, please.
James Kraft. So this is, as you've seen, this is an addition of an unenclosed porch, an elevated deck, and window changes to the western facade of this existing home. Almost everything is done in kind, colors to match, no major changes. The only additional item that isn't already on the building is the addition of composite decking previously, as previously mentioned. This was Trex gravel gray, which shows up on the deck and on the screen portion underside of the deck as well. Previously, this is reviewed by both planning and ZBA as the existing structure was non-compliant in several different ways. Basically, the addition of the screen and porches over the existing garage that had basically a door to nowhere that used to be a deck It was removed after it was damaged.
So the door was always there?
The door was always there. There was a deck there previously, previous owners, but it was removed and retained. So basically what we're doing is doing that in kind, but putting a roof on it. So basically, existing brick openings made white Anderson 400 series windows to match the existing, and upgrading a couple windows that haven't been changed in over 50 years. White cedar trim, white cedar post, stainless steel cable rail, and Trex screen underneath in a gray. Gray basically to match the rubble wall and bluestone pavers that are already existing. So that's it.
What's the fascia?
The lower fascia, it's a white cedar paint to match.
All the trim, not the color matters, but it's just, it's
All the
white.
trim is white painted, to basically match the white paint that's existing. The only thing that's gray is the underside of the deck, and the deck itself.
The roof on that?
This is an existing slate roof, and this is slate as well to match.
What's happening on the side elevation? Knocking out a window or?
This is an existing kitchen window. The kitchen is being renovated on the interior, and this is where the hood is ending up, so we're blocking it out.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve? Second?
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Got some questions for you.
Good luck.
Next is 129, ARB 16-88, 129 Main Street, a sign.
Wish I could tell you that this is just a mock.
Yeah. We wish you could tell us that too.
John Malone, Ferguson Law Architecture, representing Judy Brazon. Oh.
We got the full-scale sign.
Yeah.
Wow.
The sign,
It looks exactly. I mean,
like
is that?
It's just a
Is it a full-size mock-up?
she used it in another location, so we drew it, but,
It's done.
you know, there it is. There it is.
I think it's like I'm soliciting that, like a, what is it, sandwich board?
Just excited there's going to be a new wine store in town.
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay, where is it mounted? Just,
It's mounted, I'm sorry, it's mounted in this location, so in these two openings. The height is indicated there, which we think is appropriate.
Great.
Yep. Good work so far.
Yeah, I think it's
One thing that I saw in one of your details, you were showing the securing bolts going into the brick, and the village code says it must go into mortar, not brick. That's just,
I'm not sure that the spacing on this, we could take a look at it and see if we can get that to work. They're an epoxy anchor.
Yeah,
I
it
think
doesn't
relies
matter.
on the strength of the brick in order for it to work.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you what the code says.
I'll talk to you about it. I'll talk to you about it, 'cause I think the sign will stay up.
Okay. Any questions, issues from anybody on the board?
No, double-sided. You had to turn it around. There you go. No, I didn't go through the sign code. I'm assuming that we're compliant, but other than that, yeah. It looks
As long as
nice.
it's not above the second floor, we're good to go.
Yeah.
And the dimension of the
And
sign.
no open
7
signs.
feet, what is it, 7'6" or 7'8" or something, that's gotta be above?
Yes, what's that?
The dimension above the sidewalk.
Yes, yeah, you're not gonna climb your head. It's pretty high above the sidewalk, actually.
So is the railing up yet? Because I went by on the railing
This railing is up, not this one. This one doesn't need to be pretty.
Yeah, what's going on over there? No?
This is what
Kind of asking. Kind of asking. How, progress, is it?
Yeah, it's,
I didn't go through this. to see.
Well, that's if it's a flush line. Yeah.
But I see where it's closed.
Yeah, I went through it.
Yep.
And the only thing, the only thing I saw, I happen to remember is seeing the detail.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing that they have in there. I mean, I'll talk to him about it.
I mean, it's,
Anything he wants us to do.
So John, when actually do you think that railing is all gonna be in place?
You know, there's some remedial work that they have to do. They have to actually pull out some concrete work that they did that was not accepted by the village as a substandard, so that's happening.
Is that right?
Now, and then I think the railing will follow.
all right, do I have a motion to approve this application? Yes, we have a recusal. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And we have one recusal.
Well, you know how much I want to get done. I know. It gets very difficult working in.
Okay.
thank you, Betsy.
Thank you. Okay, next new application is ARB 16-89, 57 Hillside Terrace, Coddington.
Nicola Coddington, applicant, representing myself. I don't have any fancy visuals, sorry, but you have the set of photographs and pictures of the design in your packet, or you have one set, I believe. And so basically, the existing wooden railing on the front of the stone patio, the wood is so old that it no longer takes a coat of paint, and even though it was grandfathered, it makes sense to replace it with something that meets code, and is safe and is in keeping with the style of the house. In addition to replacing the wooden railing in its exact footprint, we're going to add a handrail, a metal handrail, an iron handrail, down the steps that is very similar to the railing that goes up the lower steps that's in one of the photographs. And we had, anyway, so that's it.
Can we see the photograph? I didn't get a photograph in the packet, only the drawings.
That's why I'm pulling this out.
Yeah,
Thank you.
the application only requested one set of photographs. So the wood will be replaced with a Walpole classic Pendleton railing that looks like this. And it is solid cellular vinyl, which looks and feels like wood. It's not shiny like, you know, some of the lesser vinyls. It will be white and as is the existing railing. Oh, sorry.
So why are you doing a mix of the iron and the two
Well,
styles? What's the
um,
reason for that?
Because we looked at, you know, they gave me a quote and design for continuing, for making the new railing sort of make a little jog and then go down the steps. But it actually takes up a lot of room because it has to fit inside the
Wall.
the wall. Thank you. And it's actually the building inspector who said that the stair railing could just be metal. And so, you know, we looked at both ways, and this is what we came up with.
Oh, just a handrail, yeah.
Oh, it's just the handrail.
Yeah, it's just a handrail.
Oh.
That's what's showing here.
Yeah.
Just the handrail
No
on,
verticals. Okay.
just on the
Got it.
steps, no
Got it. Oh, I got it.
verticals.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was my question, was about the handrail, so that's been
Yeah, I mean, it could be done, but it would take up more, depth out of what's already a fairly narrow stairway, so.
Okay, any other questions from the board? No? Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next new item is ARB 16-90, 16 Barney Park, Wolf Coker. Exterior elevation change.
Good evening.
Answer the mic, please.
My name is Eva Buhasura. I'm the architect, and Ms. Julie Wolf is here with me. And we are applying to make a change to the side of the house. And you would have a set of color photographs somewhere in the application, and then there's a bunch of black and white pictures also stated with the submissions. So as you can see, this is a colonial house, and on the side of the house, the grade goes down and it reaches a basement door. A basement door is a large double swing door, about 4 feet each, and it actually has deteriorated, and it has a large gap on the bottom, and it's just in disrepair. It was a metal plated door, and at this point it doesn't really prevent the water and the wind and pets from getting in, and so the application is to replace the door with a triple glazed door, which is shown on the blueprint. And if you look at the blueprint, on the left you see the original door, on the right you see the new door. And
Is this the only change?
That's the only change.
And which is aluminum clad?
Yeah, and it's a wood door, which is aluminum clad, Eagle by Anderson brand. And in the packet, there is a spec from Windowrama, which has that same information on it. It's a 2x5 simulated divided lights over the glazing. And that's it. It's a double swing door on the right, and it's a fixed panel on the left.
No comment.
Okay. Ladies, anything?
No.
Okay. Okay, so I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Looks like we are up to our informal conversation again about 130 Main Street, ARB 16-85.
Bob Riley, representing Bill Fitzgerald, 130 Main Street.
You go through the changes that you made.
It emphasized the front. Remember, there was a question of whether it was encroaching, so I moved any of the new construction back 6 foot from the original face. Dropped the ridge line 1.5 feet, and what else? The dormer, and this is sort of a modified. I like the movement in that. It's rather just a a window seat. It turns, it's a one-sided bay. I think all of this softened the elevation. I like it.
Was there a pointed bay window in that location now?
No.
Yeah, I think there is.
Yes,
It's a
yes.
triangular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very unique.
It's a one-sided bay.
Oh, no, on the original house. The existing house, you don't have, it's.
Oh. I think there was,
Yeah, there's a picture of it.
oh yeah, there was a triangle sort of there.
Yeah. Any reason you're removing that? It sort of
It's
has.
ugly.
Well,
Actually, the reason is, see, we're moving that face back. That face now is right in the line of the main building.
oh, okay, now I understand.
Yeah, so we're moving that whole, we're taking off that section of the building, moving it back 6 feet. Of course, once you start adding the second floor, you know, you want to incorporate the new and get more glass there. I think the thing that looked interesting in the original that Andrew pointed out was the difference in the, rather than a solid face, the more openness on this side.
Oh, it's really moving back.
So, where is, looking at the plan view of the building, where's the original house?
Yep, sure.
What are you adding to the back of the original house?
To the back of it?
Yeah.
Okay, there's the original house right there.
Okay.
We're adding a 13.5 by, I've forgotten how many feet, but this was across the back.
So this still has to go through planning, correct?
I'm sorry?
This still has to go through planning?
Yes.
Because I think you may have an issue with how close you're gonna be to that building behind it.
It's a 10-foot setback.
And with that, there'll be a 10-foot?
Yeah.
Didn't see, it seemed like that was gonna be most of the.
No, it's a 10-foot setback. No, we'll get it. It's tight, it's a 10-foot setback. This is business zone, that's residential. Any construction in the residential zone or in the business zone has to stay 10 foot. There's no restriction except if you aren't going to the property line on the business side, you have to maintain a 4-foot setback.
So how many variances do you expect?
I'm sorry?
How many variances are you going
We
to be
have none.
seeking? None.
None.
You don't expect to have to seek any?
No. See, remember, let's review for a minute the first submission. That's the one that we got the report from the, we've been to the planning board once, and it came back because of, we were enlarging and really enveloping the first thing. They said demolition, so come to you. The minute I understood that you're talking, I think the idea of emphasizing the front and getting that together.
That's part of it, right?
That's the heart of it. So, and we are keeping, the whole spirit on the inside is to keep this form all the way through. Open up and that's a circulation inside.
Right, that's the other issue.
Yep.
And how many existing feet do you have now in the present building, and how many additional feet are you seeking to add with this design?
How many square feet do we have?
And what are you seeking to add? Just roughly.
1,500 square feet, we're adding 1,500. Similar, I mean, it could be under 2,000 and under 2,000. A suggestion I have, unless you want to review anything now.
I mean, I think the design is a clever design. I think it, like architecturally, it's very interesting looking, the way you've resolved it. The challenge is the way it's just being added onto an historic home, right? So typically you wouldn't create an addition on 3 sides of a structure encompassing 3/4 of the massing, which is actually more than that, 'cause you're only set back 6 feet. I mean, the changes are better. There's no question about it, by reducing the ridges and creating more of an additive massing aesthetic to it. Works. Pushing it back a little bit kind of helps, but the fact that it's still balanced and on 3 sides is, it just, there's nothing left of the house except for the front facade at the end of the day. And that's, I think we're charged with more preserving the scale and integrity of the historic district.
That was going 20 years ago.
No, but you can add on all the square footage you want. Like, it's not about square footage, it's about how you do it on a structure that has a scale that is in keeping with the in-town context. Right? I wouldn't care if it was a 4,000 square foot addition. It's the way this square footage is creating a cuff around the whole
How do you
home.
add square footage when you had a very, very simple, I mean, we're talking about 21, this building was 21 by 30.
I mean, I get it.
That's the original building.
I get it. I mean, there's unfortunately in areas where there are regulations, there's a compromise that need to be made between program scope, effectiveness within the architectural context, and what the end product is. I mean, I can't design the project for you. So I can only tell you where there are the front elevation of the house, you now have these cantilevering masses off each side, which begin to distort the original mass on its own. It's like I say, it's unique. What you've done is unique. It's interesting. You've taken all the challenges and come up with something that is unique, but you've created a 2-story massing on 3 sides of an existing structure.
Yes.
75% of that massing has been sucked up by this new addition. So the only thing that's left is the front facade. That's it. There's nothing else about the massing of that home, right?
I think there's something we all have to come to grips with, which is a historic district, and how do we add on? Because there's clearly no restriction at all to adding on in the historic district.
There's not, but when a town creates an historic district, at least, again, places where I've done work, there's ultimately sort of not mandated, but subtle references to the historic guidelines produced by the National Registry of Historic Places.
I'm sure Scarsdale is very clear.
Well, no, they're just general, like things you do when you add on to a structure. It's things like you create gasket connections between the new and old to preserve the integrity of the original massing. Like, I'm sure you know them, I'm sure you've done this before, and this doesn't take any of that into consideration because it is literally swallowing the existing structure. So there's nothing about it that suggests there was an existing building there.
I can add something.
Okay.
I think when we finally get down to what does this historic district mean, I think you're going to find it's the front street elevation.
Absolutely the most important thing, you're correct.
The only
correct.
Well, now let's go up and down every.
I mean, I think we experience space 3-dimensionally, not in a single plane. What you're saying, if the case was if we all experienced homes and context by just seeing flat drawings, that's not how we look at things.
I'm only suggesting Main Street.
Right.
Look at the existing houses.
I walk it every day. It's a disaster what's happened here.
It's funny. In the last meeting, you thought that the craziness of the side of our neighbor, on the side street, there's no symmetry at all. It's haphazard. It's builder mentality. It actually looks good, but there were very few of the side elevations of Main Street, except that they're on a corner, that have any historic significance at all.
Agreed.
I don't think it's physically possible to take an isolated 20 by 30 building and do anything with it other than try and make an interesting elevation.
I fundamentally disagree, but I think it's all in that elevation. If we're going to talk about elevation, so here you have the ridge beam, right, that's running north-south. Pretty straightforward. It disappears, even with the new configuration, which is a sort of very clever answer to it in terms of intercepting it, it's still creating, gobbling up better words could be used. And I
This
want
is
to,
all
I just, let me
two-dimensional.
finish up.
Wait, you've got
I can read,
so
I can
far
read,
back in the plane.
it's not that far back.
Well,
It's only 5 feet back from the,
no,
sorry.
no, it's 6 feet
6
back.
feet.
Okay, sorry,
16
6 feet and 5 feet is the dimension from here
It's
to
6
there.
feet back to there.
Yeah.
But that's going back.
It's not enough, okay, I'll say it, it's not enough to preserve that house, but I'll say why, because it's the addition on the east side that's now slicing right through it, and it becomes a whole nother mass that you're gonna read. Instead of it being like your neighbor in its kooky way, a sort of series of additions that have happened over time, it's an accretion. Here you've done the major move, like slicing right through it. If this house was out in the middle of the country, I'd probably applaud you for taking that. It sits on a main street where all the houses have this orthogonal orientation toward the street or towards their addition. This is this train that's run through.
Not the dentist, not the one on.
He has a, yeah, right on the
Do
corner.
you know what would help your case? This things that
I'm listening,
Tad's
I'm listening.
doing. I would do a photo study of the significant buildings that you think support your case on Main Street, bring that to us with photos, and you need to do a 3-dimensional rendering so that we can understand this project not in a flat drawn elevation, and you can pitch your case. I'm just saying, like, those are tools that are at your disposal to help convince us.
Okay.
As we look at this right now, I think you've added these cantilevers. I don't believe they were here last time.
Say that again?
No, they were.
Cantilevers.
Cantilevers.
They
Where?
were?
They were.
They were there?
Mm-hmm.
The
The
cantilevers,
cantilevers
the
were
second
there.
floor cantilevers.
Oh, yeah, they were there. In fact, they had little diagonals on them.
But they make the house look, they make it look like you took a 1-story structure and dropped it on some, there's something odd about
That's because
that.
that exists.
Well, no, it doesn't exist, you're cutting it, you're pushing it back, you just said, so you're not
No,
gonna.
but I mean, that was, that's
You're
built.
knocking it down. You're
I
not
mean,
gonna-
I can move that out.
It might look better. I think it might look better, yeah.
I don't, actually, let me rephrase that. I'm not, it might not necessarily look better, it will look more appropriate.
It
Put it
probably
that
would
way.
not look as good. In fact, if anything, we did this because it looked very massive.
Right, which it looks better than it did.
It looks a lot better, and it's two-dimensional.
Yeah, I mean, we get 3 dimensions, I mean,
I
see
think we
it.
still, this, to me, and I know there's a lot of people that have input on this in the village and have feelings for it, I mean, I know that. But that's because this is the first example of an existing building that is 1,500 square feet. I mean, it isn't big enough for a single parent and a child. Yes.
I live in one.
I'm sorry?
1,600 feet.
I'm sorry?
I live in a 1,600-foot house where 8 kids lived.
I think that's wonderful.
I'm not
But
one
I
of
got
the
a
8, but
client who there are no variances on here. So
They're trying to max out their home. They're trying to max out their available square footage, which is their right to do, right?
Yep. You
Listen,
realize
you've been doing this. You understand what we're saying. Because you've been doing, this is your profession, you get what we're saying, we're not speaking in Greek to one another. We're explaining to you that the integrity of the original massing of the existing home is lost in this project.
It was lost 20 years ago. Start there. Well, stop.
What additions?
How is it lost? With a 1-story addition off the side, how is that lost? Explain to me how the main
Well,
mass is lost.
because-
I'm looking at your photos here. I don't understand, I don't see
Well, maybe the office.
how that's lost with this addition on the side. This looks like every other, house within this town.
Okay.
So, no,
Yeah, but-
why how's it lost?
If you take the purest of all, they're going to say, let's not do anything.
No, we're not saying
You're
that.
far from
I'm not
purists.
suggesting you're doing that. I'm saying there are people that we can bring to this auditorium that say, let's not do anything.
Well, they're not here, they're not gonna vote on it, so I don't know.
I'm not sure they're not here.
I'm not,
You're not here.
I'm not what you're describing.
Okay.
But
Obviously, from my client's point of view, I have a program to fit. He doesn't
Got
want
it.
2 bedrooms. He's got
Understood.
3 children. He wants a 4-bedroom house, 2 beds.
I'm gonna pause just for a second. So let's just say that's what the program is. And what's happened is it's wrapped the house. I think we've said it's happened. It's wrapped the house. That's the issue right now. The house is
Can I just Yes.
Can I finish? Wait, please.
When we had the existing,
Yeah,
the original scheme, in fact,
but, so, let me finish up. So the bulk of that, to make that happen, you've had to push up the house, right? You know, make a third floor the largest floor in the house, pretty much.
Yeah.
So perhaps the mass, that square footage could be distributed on the second floor, or the parlor floor,
The only way I can do that is go further out on that side.
or pull it down, or on that side.
It's a 6-foot setback till I get to the guy's property line.
Well, that's not, you have east and west, you have north and south access, right?
Right.
You do. So there I'm just gonna go, it's
This is the
two-dimensional.
west side.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry.
No, I
just
do,
don't
I know.
understand what you're saying.
So I'm saying pull that side out,
More. Go touch the property line?
no, the lower floor, the lower level.
There.
Yes.
Okay.
Lose whatever that bump is in the front so that it pulls back, right? In plan, the first room, that extra room you've added, on the master bedroom side. Go over the master bedroom. Go down to the master bedroom.
Oh, here, this side.
On the floor, sorry, no, on the west side.
Here.
No, up on that upper level, and that's a dressing room, right?
Correct.
Okay. It's a full dressing room. Do you need a full dressing room? Can you push that facade back? Can you pull that whole front edge back?
You can go that way.
Yes. Okay, I'm just, we've
Can I tell you
said,
the
we've
answer?
said it's engulfing it, and right now it's not, it's gone. So what would you do? You'd sort of reveal more of the front of the house, pull it back.
Do you really think going back 3 more feet will make a difference?
That's not 3 more feet, from what I'm looking
I
at.
went back 6. It was 4 before, now it's 6. Do you think two more feet is going to make a difference?
I'm looking at the size of that room there, the dressing room. Lower right-hand corner of the plan, the second floor plan. Up.
Oh, here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's.
No, the whole, just push it back.
You mean they have a program requirement of square footage of the
I'm
bedrooms.
only dealing with architectural. They
No,
have a
no,
big,
no.
sorry, they have a
Take the
big bedroom.
reality. What would you like me to do?
Push back that room.
And what? And say you can have much smaller bedrooms.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just
You
saying
have
push
to
back
say
the
something.
facade.
I mean, if
I'm
you
not
want me to
designing a
push it back,
plan. I'm pointing out, we've said to
This is
you.
going down the slippery slope of this conversation.
Yeah.
It is not our task to provide you with design concept to redesign your application. Let me finish. Our goal is to provide you with feedback based on what we believe the challenges are with this project that's put in front of us. We're not here to design it for you, because you'll then come back and say, you told me to do this, I did it.
No, I wouldn't do that.
You already did it
First
tonight.
of all, I think.
Listen, the bottom line is, the house is being engulfed. I think it's very tasteful and appropriate to differentiate the addition stylistically from the historic mass. That's a great approach. It looks very nice what you've done. But you've done a lot of trickery to max out the bulk. You're going from like 12 pitches to 4 pitches with broken backs into that's not how you would add on to an historic home by doing that. You just put a C around this front box to get the bulk.
Can I tell you why that took place right there? Because that's existing. And it's
You're pushing the wall
I mean,
back.
if I take that out 3 feet, it doesn't give me a thing except.
You need to stop saying the side mass is existing. You already told us you're pumping it back and you're getting rid of the angled window. It's no longer existing. It's a new addition. The only thing being
I
saved.
only meant that wall. That wall goes front to back.
I get. I'm talking about roof lines. Listen, there's things happening here. We're all in the position sometimes with our clients we have to go back and say, you know what, your program is just not going to fly. Unfortunately, I can't reconcile your program.
No, that's a terrible idea. Absolutely not.
It's a very big addition on a very small house
No.
that doesn't have a big enough lot to add the square footage. That's what it comes down to.
It's full within the requirements. All right. Here's the dilemma we're at right now. I went to the planning board, and the first submission that we made to the planning board was considered demolition. There's no demolition here.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, demolition is described in two different ways. If you're touching the facade of the front of the house by more than 50%, that's demolition.
Okay, I thought it said if you are taking down more than 50% of the building. then you're,
Yes,
if I'm not taking down 50%.
that's the other half of it, though. It's the facade and it's the overall
Okay.
size of the building.
But that is not within our purview. I mean, if you were told that, that's what we're now.
I know, but
So-
that's why I came back and completely changed, I redesigned the whole building to be able to get the facade. Because I think if it push comes to shove, you're gonna find it's the elevation that's going to be the criteria of whether it meets the historic district, not what's behind.
It's not just the elevation, it's the scale of the massings around the historic mass.
Well,
It's not just elevation.
No, you-
Like I said, we don't experience things two-dimensionally, we experience them three-dimensionally. The existing structure has a massing component to it.
I
That is
think
contextually relevant to the
I think if you
town.
look carefully at what will be the historic yardstick, it's the front elevation. Because 90% of all of the buildings on there are meaningless as you go back. Here's my dilemma. I can't get to the planning board. I have a request. I want to get an approval, a historic approval of the elevation, so that I can go back to the planning board and get through this whole routine of
I know, it's a
FAR,
nightmare.
you name it. I mean, it's horrendous.
Well, since this is an informal discussion, there won't be anything in writing coming from us to anybody, to the planning board or to anybody else. We don't have an application, a physical application in front of us.
You realize I can't even apply for a building permit because I haven't gone through the planning board. It's a catch-22.
It is. a
It's
disaster.
crazy. And that's why, because the whole historic district and routine of coming to you guys first, set the thing, normally you go, you file for a building permit, they say, oh, you have to go to the planning board, but you file for a permit. I can't file for a permit.
Well, I can say also that there is no formal requirement in the village right now, just so that we're clear, that if there's a home within what is now viewed as the historic district, that you come to the ARB first. You're
Yes,
coming
there
down.
is.
There is not a formal requirement that you come to the ARB first. It has been suggested to you that you come to us so we don't waste your time and create a whole circular process where then when you come to
Well,
us.
we have a major circular problem.
But that is, again, not something that we are here tonight to
You better talk to the
discuss.
building inspector and the trustees.
I actually think that's what I'm suggesting that you have to do, because if the planning department needs us to issue something, that's news to us. That is not what our role and
No.
responsibility is.
It was a suggestion that,
Yeah, you get a preliminary read.
And that's your,
that's all.
that's right, and that's what we're
And
giving
I
you
will-
tonight.
I will say that once we go through the planning process, I'll gladly come back.
But I think what you're getting from us, you've heard, but you're not liking the answer.
Oh, no,
The
no,
preliminary read that we're
No,
giving you
then
tonight is
into
this.
the whole discussion of what is significant, what is enough to do. I mean, this is the first time we're all standing here addressing what's going to happen when other buildings want additions on Main Street.
Maybe to this extent. I will tell you this, even if there was not a historic district, from my perspective, sitting here looking at what you're putting before us, I think what you've proposed is not in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. It's not in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. I know you
Which is our
suggest that
basic
it
charge.
is, but our charge is to look at this neighborhood, regardless of where it's located, but the neighborhood your house is sitting in, and say, this design
Do you have
consistent?
any idea how small this is compared to all the neighbor
I think
buildings?
we all are saying we do.
Well, what does that do to you?
What I'm saying it does for your application is that this application, to me, has too much heavy massing on the top, and the design changes you have now incorporated and come back to us to take a look at still do not meet what I believe is
Well,
appropriate
first
for
of
this
all, I
house.
think
And
your
may I finish?
responsibility is not the massing, your responsibility is the street elevation.
It is that we have to consider the massing in order to look at the
Why does
elevation.
that say that?
Because as it was said to you before, we're looking at the building, telling you, this is not a good design as far as I'm concerned. That's the bottom line. If you
Okay.
really want to know if you're coming to a preliminary read, I'm giving you a
No, I'm
preliminary
coming
read.
because the whole process is convoluted. And
There's
and there's not much I can do other than we have to agree, because you guys are going to be responsible for what happens and how do you handle this historic district. What does it mean to you?
We understand
I
what
think
it-
this is
it's not-
conversations
yes, it's
moving
not
in a
going
very
anywhere. We
inappropriate
understand.
direction.
We know you're
I think-
frustrated.
I think, yeah.
What should I, how about if I make a model? Can I do that, or?
I think you should, I don't know what should be done at this
Frankly,
point.
I have to talk to the
I think we should.
building
decide.
department and ultimately the trustees, because I don't know what propelled you to come to us in this vein, because frankly, we're not the ones to make the determination of what is
I went to the
demolition, what
planning
isn't
board, and
demolition.
the first notation, let me give you a copy of it. The engineer's report. One, two, three. I don't have a copy of it, but there's the engineer's report. Look at the first item. There's 17 items that I have to do from the engineer. First, right at the very bottom.
So Han Engineering has made the determination already that it's a contributing building and the proposed changes constitute demolishing under section, under the
That's because the first submission I had enveloped the whole thing. This building disappeared. I'll show you the first submission. You may like that better.
So has Han seen this?
No.
Because, well, they're the ones who ultimately, they're the ones who made the determination that it's considered demolition.
They won't move until you make a determination.
No, he's already made the determination, the way I read this.
No.
It's not demolition?
This is not demolition.
No, they want us to determine it's not demolition?
No. They want you to say, this fits into the historic district. That's what they want you to do.
And we're telling you we don't think it does. And you're standing
Well, if you
here
say
telling-
that, you tell them that, and then we can take the next step. And I think that's absolutely crazy. I can't believe you would do that.
Well, it says 130 Main Street is a contributing building in the historic district, historic overlay district, and the proposed changes constitute demolishing under section 224-197 of the zoning code. Therefore, the demolition requires ARB approval. The
Correct.
requirements, procedures, but you're telling me that what we're looking at is not what they've made a determination on.
Yes, that's correct. Because I said, why would I come here and show you the design that I showed them and have you say, what's going on, Bob? Where the hell is any part of the existing building? I looked at my design and I said, it's crazy.
I think you should have taken, or you should take this design back to Han Engineering and saying, does this still constitute demolition?
I know it doesn't. So
I don't believe it does either, but that determination is not going to get you moving forward.
Okay, no, if I go to him and he says it's not demolition, then I don't have to bother with you.
You'll eventually have to bother with us coming back later. Right, correct.
All right, that's an idea.
I think, anybody else?
I think that's too bad, because I like the suggestions that were coming from dialogue
Well,
with us.
you'll get them in the back end.
I think
Yeah,
we
but
should,
he's gonna have to go amend his
No.
planning. He's gonna have to
You
go
know,
amend his
the
planning.
funny
It's-
part is-
the whole process in this town
We
is
know that.
backwards.
We know that.
Backwards.
Yeah, we
Yes,
know.
the architectural review board, when you're a dime away from breaking ground,
Yeah.
is crazy.
Yes, I agree.
We agree.
I mean,
We
the
agree.
good part about it was that I thought we had started some discussion here.
I think we have, and I think if you incorporate the suggestions you're hearing at the other end of the table, then you will have a more positive experience by the time you come back to the
How
ARB.
far back would you like me to move it?
Look,
No, it's not about how far back. It's about understanding that the broad topics that we're discussing. You can either choose to recognize and agree with them or not. The massing
I'm not.
has
I'm
been
just-
enveloped too large. It's up to you to decide how far back makes sense. It's up to you to decide how to adjust the roof lines to see if you can bring back some of the integrity of the historic piece. It's up to you to reconfigure the windows to make them work with your plan. That's not for us to do. We're simply telling you that as it stands right now, and when
What
you
if there
look
is
at the
no
wait,
answer?
let me finish. And when you look at the plan, I don't even need to see elevations. I can look at the plan and tell you that the home is being eaten up by the additions. It's very simple.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's the
Then
heart of the thing.
Then,
The
okay, then,
existing,
then that's
there
that's
is
for
no-
you.
There
but
is
that's
no
for you.
historic building. Start there.
Okay.
I mean,
And if
we
that's
gotta
the
come to grips with that. There is no historic building.
There's an historic
Here in front.
context. There's an historic context
Oh,
in this town.
what does that mean?
historic?
Well, you should
Oh,
know what that
what does it
means.
mean?
You should know what it means.
Oh, no.
I live in town. There's a
Yeah, I know.
context.
No.
The house is already too far gone.
he's saying it's too far gone.
He's saying it's too far gone.
Look, we disagree. I think what you've
Bring us
demonstrated
more
in,
photos.
yes.
Bring some sort of
I'm gonna
model.
say, it. You're making choices. You've made choices, such as an atrium,
Exactly.
that has created your own problem.
The atrium is 8 foot
I
by
would
12.
move that, I would
a
move the
bedroom.
bathroom. It would be a master bathroom. It would be whatever it is. The atrium might be the problem.
I think
We're
the
not
atrium's dictating a lot of your decisions that have
Do
resulted
you
in
know
this
how big the
design.
atrium is?
Size of a
Well,
master
look,
bathroom.
how could you say that if you don't know how big it is?
Because you're looking for square footage and you're
I'm
looking
not
for
looking
the
for square
atrium.
footage.
Your client said it's the motivator, but I think you understand where we're coming
I
from.
know, I mean,
It's honestly, this is like, I mean, you don't need to have this conversation. You have a large program, you're trying to fit a lot of it into this house, you have double height spaces that create an atrium. If it was 4 square feet, you could displace that square footage back into the project. We don't need to have a petty argument about, we need to know how big it is to make the comment. There's an atrium.
the atrium is in this, is just what's part of this space inside the existing
Yeah,
roof.
and when you have the addition on the east side, you get rid of the atrium, you slide that massing in, and now you don't have the bump on one side of the house, and it looks more appropriate.
Look,
These are
there's the
simple
atrium.
changes. We're not gonna design it for you.
I didn't ask you, well, now if you comment on it, you gotta at least listen to me. There's the atrium, and this is all, you want, what
No,
am I
the
gonna
other
do
side,
with
the other
this?
side.
Other side.
Other
The other
side.
side.
Oh, you're on this side,
Yes.
okay? That's in the back, that has nothing to do
We're
with the.
talking about the back, we're talking about the side.
Huh?
Side.
Just, that's.
Bathroom and closet are. You have a
Okay.
huge bathroom and a huge closet. Slide them into the middle of the building. Make the addition a 1-story addition on the east side. And now you've got a little more asymmetry so it doesn't look like you dropped a box on top of the house, and then you'll have one that's.
If I took that off, would that make you happy?
You're
It's
It's an improvement.
What?
Yes, yes, it's an improvement.
Why? What, you mean,
Because you're bringing back the original massing of the home. These are simple
I
things.
am not, you mean, I'm not gonna bring it all the way back to there? I couldn't possibly generate that much square footage.
No, but you
And
have
then
to
you look at
figure
that,
out.
that's an uninteresting side in its originality, in its original version.
These are things for you to, I mean, I think we've said too much already based on what we're talking about.
I mean, look, that's the beginning and the end there. That's wonderful. Flowers growing and everything. Well, once that got buried in the 1870s,
Where did it get buried? With the
This
one-story
whole
The
addition?
building.
1-story addition.
The 1-story addition buried the whole house? Up the roof line, 2/3?
that was the living room and the kitchen.
You didn't answer my question. The 1-story addition buried the mass of the house? Is that what you're saying?
No, it changed the historic character of the
You
building.
said it buried the house. How did it bury the house? It didn't
No,
look like it
bury
buried
the house.
Okay,
It's not. But I mean, to look at it and say, this is a historic building, we can't make any room. I mean, I can tell you that ruined it. If anything, I wanted to incorporate that dumb bump in my building.
All right.
Okay.
Why don't we,
Well, so how do we go? Do I go back to?
I think you should take whatever design you want to take back to the planning board, or at the very least, submit it to the building inspector, say, I'd like Han Engineering to make a redetermination. They may come up with the same thing, but
Okay,
it's,
I think that's a good idea.
and then we can, look to move forward on
Was
that.
it possible
So
that?
it's very
okay.
possible. It's very possible they're going to change their determination, but until they do,
Oh, yeah, no, yep, because it clearly says I'm to come to you if they call it demolition.
right.
Okay,
Very good.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.